Hey guys, what's up? I'm so happy you're here. Today I wanted to make a video about my fitness journey. I thought that kind of making a video talking through the process and kind of where I started might be helpful. I know a lot of women share a lot of the same struggles and have a story that's very similar to mine. It is very difficult to navigate the world of fitness right now. Yeah, it's not easy. The way that society is right now with social media, with celebrities, with Photoshop and filters, it's really challenging. There's such a strong narrative of needing to look a certain way or have a certain life or be a certain type of person. The whole like that girl aesthetic, all of that I think is incredibly unhealthy, and it can be very toxic. I think a lot of brands and companies are just getting a lot sneakier with how they target you and prey on people's insecurities, and having the education and background that you need to make the proper choices for you. That's really powerful. That's really freeing, and I think that's how we learn to enjoy a full, rich, fun life while still being able to reach our fitness goals. So we should just start at the beginning. As a young kid, I was never very active. I didn't really do the whole sports thing. I just didn't care to, and I was really shy when I was young. Like, mom, please don't make me go to this birthday party type of shy. I mean, overall, my family was fairly active. We definitely did a lot of like outdoor activities, lots of walks. We would go camping and kayaking and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't super regular and it wasn't that big of a part of my life. I danced for a little bit when I was very young, and I quit ballet because of my shyness and didn't return to dance until a lot later down the road. Nobody ever expected me to be athletic or sporty. It was very much like, okay, Leon's strengths lie elsewhere. 6th grade is when I started trying to manipulate my food intake to change the way that I looked. I don't think I was really going to the gym working out. I think I was, on Tumblr and on Pinterest, and I was starting to get all these ideas of what I was supposed to look like or what I thought I wanted to become. And trying to think back of kind of where I was at that time in my life, I don't even know if I knew what I was doing. When I was that age, eating disorders weren't really talked about, like not nearly as much as they are today. So I didn't quite understand what I was doing. And I think people were a lot less conscious of the way that they talked about bodies and food, especially around younger girls. In 7th and 8th grade, I got back into dance, and I started with competitive hip hop. I slowly added in other categories along the way. I was doing ballet, lyrical, a little bit of everything. And this, I felt, was truly a turning point in such a negative way. And if you know any competitive dancers, it's kind of an intense atmosphere. So if you were a competitive dancer, you had to take certain classes. You had to take a technique class, you had to take ballet, you had to do all of these things in order to be eligible to compete in any category. So we would be at the studio for hours, right? It was very common in my studio for girls to run out in between classes to grab food and then come back to the studio and purge. And I remember just thinking that was totally normal. I don't think a lot of adults really knew exactly what was going on, but I don't think it's very uncommon at all. So it is no surprise that I started to develop a really warped perception of food and movement and my body, and it really is such a slippery slope. I'm moving into high school, and I'm in dance, I'm in marching band, I'm going to the gym every day after school and going on the elliptical for 30 minutes to an hour. This is when I kind of started first picking up weights, but I'm talking like 2 to 5 pound dumbbells, doing Pinterest workouts. I was that girl that doing workouts at the sleepover. Like, I was making my friends do wall sits with me. During this time, I'm pretty active on Tumblr, and I'm active within these communities for girls with eating disorders. I was consuming so much content that had to do with eating disorders. I think the whole entire concept of that is super I had a group of girls, and we would message pretty frequently. How are you doing? What did you eat today? How much water have you drank? Oh, like trying to keep each other on track, right? And I just wanted to say that is incredibly unhealthy. Over time, it shifted into encouraging each other into recovery and taking care of yourself. But I do just want to say that I don't recommend that in any way, shape, or form. But that's like just kind of where I was. So my sophomore year of high school comes, and this is kind of the point where a lot of my life starts to change. A lot of the habits that I had picked up from before. At this point, I was ping-ponging between restriction and binging and purging. I was self-harming. Sophomore year, I think, was when I first got diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And this was also the time where I started dating a guy that was a couple years older than me. I was separating from the group of friends that I had been with since like 5th grade. And I was feeling so much like internal turmoil and anger and angst. And I didn't really realize what was happening. So I'm like turning away from a lot of my friends. I'm starting to hang out with people that maybe don't have my best interests at heart, and I'm in this horrible, toxic, manipulative relationship. So all of this compounding with the fact that I had already been establishing these unhealthy behaviors, and then everything else added to that, it really was like a whole recipe for disaster. So that starts sophomore year. This is also when I'm starting to kind of get into the fitness community on YouTube. So I'm following Nikki Blackwater, I'm following Emily Duncan, Heidi Summers, Jasmine Garcia. I'm starting to follow all of these. This is like the huge, like, if it fits your macros, Gymshark era. The first time that I had seen women lifting weights and looking strong and badass. And so it's starting to like plant a seed in the back of my head. But it takes me a couple years. So I get out of that relationship. It is a whole mess and a half. And it takes me quite some time to kind of recover and heal from that. Junior year is when I start kind of dabbling into weights, but I'm very anxious. I don't know what I'm doing in the gym yet, and I'm just incredibly overwhelmed. I have a lot of gym anxiety. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing in the gym. I don't know if my form's right. I don't know how to use the machines. I really am lost. My senior year, I decided that it's really time for me to start lifting weights. I'd been following these girls. I was watching all these NPC bikini competitors, and I was thinking, they have so much muscle. They're working with barbells. They look badass. Like, that is something I want to do. And I think part of it was no one expected that to come from me. I don't think my parents ever expected like little shy Leanne to ever be throwing around some weights in the weight room. You know what I mean? So I think I thought that that was kind of appealing. I was really just feeling restless. I'm still insecure, and I'm trying to find a place that I belong. That is kind of when I became really, really determined. At this point, people are starting to associate me with the gym because I'm always working out, going to the gym before school, after school. It was very much a big part of my life at that point. I was very obsessive about my health and fitness, and if you don't know any better, hearing somebody become obsessed with the gym and working out and fitness and what they're putting into their body, a lot of it can kind of sound like it is healthy. There was just like not really a method to my madness. I'm on bodybuilding.com. I'm watching all of these fitness influencers when they're putting their workouts in their videos, and I'm trying to kind of emulate them. Senior year, my little group of friends is like me, Bianca, Sam, and Kyle. And we're all starting to kind of get into the gym. I literally remember going into the gym with Kyle and us being like having to lift the barbell together because neither of us could move it on our own. It's really kind of hard for me to think back and remember everything in chronological order. But I think this is when I start thinking about having a goal of competing in NPC bikini someday. That kind of like lights a new fire, and I start really thinking about how I want to build more muscle. I started my very first fitness Instagram account, and it was the OG Lift with Lee, and I was just kind of documenting my progress, my life, my lifts, and what I was eating. I'm starting to kind of find myself in a little bit better of a space here. I'm in a much healthier relationship at this point, and I have a lot of friends that are really interested in the same things that I am. So I have a lot more support. So I spend senior year getting really into the gym, and then I graduate and I go to college. The first friend that I made in college was starting to get into the gym, and my roommate and I would go to the gym together and work out. So I had started finding like a little bit of a community at Ohio State in terms of fitness. My intention for going to the gym was still rooted in trying to be small and shrink, and I just had this idealized version of what I wanted to look like and, you know, a certain weight that I wanted to be. And at this point, I'd been through it. I tried everything. I tried these horrible low-calorie diets. I tried fasting. I tried ice baths. I've tried running. I tried skinny detoxes. Like, I really felt like I had been through it and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. At this point, I felt like my brain was jumbled. Like, I couldn't tell what was up and what was down. So I'm just kind of trying to keep my head down and keep going. I'm feeling really discouraged, and it's just kind of a cycle of, okay, I need to keep doing this. I need to work out all the time. I need to track what I eat and do all of these things if I want to see progress. But then I would get burnt out and I would go 3 to 6 months without going to the gym once. Overall, during the semesters, I felt like I was doing okay, right? I would definitely have my ups and downs, but the summers is when I like really started to struggle. I felt like I didn't have routine. I just felt untethered is the only way I can think to describe it. So that is when I would really kind of fall into a deep depression. My relationship with my body and with food would get a lot worse every single summer. I was living on campus taking a couple of summer classes, but for the most part, I spent a lot of time alone. I never really found that much community in college. I had a really, really tough experience. So the summer after my freshman year, I believe, was just so incredibly difficult. I was in a relationship that was really good for a while and then became unhealthy for both of us. That was a lot of stress. I was feeling really insecure. I was battling these horrible feelings of like envy and jealousy and these ugly emotions that make you think horrible things and say horrible things and do horrible things. And I was just really, really struggling, and I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what to do. Sophomore year, I think like first semester, sophomore year, first semester, I saw a sign in the gym that was for this program called Bikini Prep. This was a program that was basically preparing you to become a personal trainer, to pass the ACE exam, and then to start working with OSU rec sports. So this really piqued my interest. It was like one of the first times that I really shoved myself out of my comfort zone. And when I started taking this class, I was like, there is no way that I could be a personal trainer. There is no way that I can put myself out there like that. I was really terrified. But I think, honestly, having a lot of service industry jobs in restaurants really helped me kind of build that confidence to be able to put myself out there and put myself in kind of a more leadership, front-facing position. However, at the same time, I am really struggling in college. I'm not loving what I'm doing. I'm feeling so unprepared. The transition from high school to college, I don't think enough people really talk about just how difficult it is for so many people. In my head, I'd been told like, this is the best 4 years of your life. Like, it's great, you're gonna make so many friends, and none of those things were happening for me. So I'm in this PT Prep program. This is like the thing that is keeping me going. I'm having a great time. And this is when I meet Rachel, who is also going through this program to become a personal trainer. And immediately we clicked, and I was like, thank God. I have somebody that I can relate to. I have somebody that understands me. And that was the start of a beautiful friendship. However, we were both going through incredibly tough seasons. So going into the second semester of my sophomore year, at this point, I'm not going to classes anymore. I'm really spiraling at this point, and it all culminates in me dropping out of college. February of 2018, I spent a week in the hospital and I got discharged, and I remember thinking, how am I supposed to go back to my classes? It just was so unfathomable to me. So I packed up my car and I drove home. I was also going through the worst breakup I have ever gone through at this point in time, and I think that it's a really great idea to start a bikini prep. So Rachel and I both started competition preps, and it was just overall not a great experience. My first ever coaching experience for bikini prep was not a good one, so I ended up switching coaches a couple months in, and I'm living at home now. And honestly, this time was a huge period of growth for me. I'm alone most of the time. I'm really working on myself. For the first time since I was 16, I was not in a relationship. I was focused on the gym, and it was definitely me trying to compartmentalize what I was going through and distract myself from from truly processing and healing from all the things that I had gone through. So I'm going through this prep. Honestly, it's not about summer. Earlier that year, I had gotten certified through ACE for a personal training. So I'm working at a private personal training gym at this point. I'm having my little hot girl summer phase. I'm eating a lot of Chipotle. I'm lifting with my friends, trying out all these new gyms. I felt like I was really happy, but there was a lot of things that were unresolved that I still needed to deal with. The first semester of my junior year, Rachel and I both come back to campus and we're living together as roommates. I think a couple months into the first semester was when I decided to call it quits on the Bikini Prep. This is really when I started to have a different perspective on fitness. So I decided that I don't want to compete in a bikini competition right now. I really want to focus on a more sustainable way of life. And for the first time, my idea of fitness started to open up a little bit more. And instead of just thinking in terms of bodybuilding, I was starting to understand that fitness looks different from everyone and you can have goals that have nothing to do with your physique. During this period of time, I'm really focused on getting stronger, and obviously I'd been getting stronger since I started lifting my senior year of high school, but I had been training for hypertrophy. So this was the first time that I had a goal that wasn't physique based. I'm living in Columbus. I'm going to the Arnold every year. I have all these friends that are personal trainers now. I have friends that love lifting and a huge community. And I'm starting to have a more holistic approach to wellness and fitness in general. I'm training clients at my campus gym and I'm involved in these small groups. One specifically was called Buckeye Barbells, and it was, you know, kind of helping get women under the barbell. It was a program created by my boss at the time. It was something that I really enjoyed doing. And it was definitely a significant moment that led to my pursuit of becoming an online coach and helping coach other women. So I'm doing this, I'm having a great time. I'm not tracking macros at this point anymore, and I'm doing a lot more fitness things that just make me happy. So I started taking some group fitness classes here and there. I'm implementing a little bit more yoga. I'm switching things up, and I'm really at this point kind of falling back in love with fitness, but this time in a healthier way. Senior year comes and I'm helping assist in an Olympic lifting small group class with the man that would become my husband later on. At this point, I'm just focused on getting jacked and getting as strong as possible. I think this was the era where I deadlifted 2 plates for the first time. I squatted 2 plates for the first time. Like, things are really starting to happen. The more I focus on what my body's capable of, the more I focus on increasing my strength, the more progress I'm seeing in my physique and the more comfortable I'm starting to feel in my body. And then second semester of my senior year rolls around, aka 2020. Classes are canceled for quite some time. We go back to virtual. I think we all remember 2020 and we don't really need to relive it, right? So during this period of time, obviously gyms are closed down, so I'm focusing on moving at home. I tried my hand at running. Okay, I did couch to 5K for like a few weeks. Up until this point, I had absolutely no interest in at-home workouts. I love the whole ritual of preparing for the gym, driving there, getting there, warming up. I just, overall, like, I love the entire experience and just being in the gym. But obviously with quarantining, with the pandemic, gyms being closed, have to pivot. So I start doing at-home workouts. I'm using bands. It's going okay. Then I found Melissa Wood Health and I subscribed to her workout app and I started doing like Pilates and I ended up loving it. And it was the first time that I was like, okay, I can do at-home workouts and enjoy them. The gyms open up again. We go back. Nathan and I eased ourselves back into it. I had a minor injury that I had to work through, but it didn't take very long to kind of bounce back from that. And we start doing Jeff Nippard's power building program. It's the first one. And I'm starting to see just like crazy progress in my physique. I'm seeing my numbers jump up. I'm really feeling my body super well. I'm not tracking what I eat. I'm just prioritizing protein and I'm eating probably like 200 plus grams of carbs every day. There wasn't a whole lot of other things going on. I really had the time and energy to dedicate to that. So it was the best I'd ever felt. It was the best I felt that I'd ever looked. I was the strongest I had ever been, and it felt like it was not going to be stopping anytime soon. Around this time, I also got a job at Cycle Bar and I fell in love with spin classes, and that kind of widening up my perspective of fitness helped me be able to start enjoying other things like spin classes, like Pilates, and now they hold such a special place in my heart. Coming out of winter, I'm starting to feel overtrained. I'm starting to realize that I haven't been taking enough rest days. I'm constantly sore. Everything hurts all the time. I'm overreaching in my lifts, and I know that, but I just couldn't get it in my head that you need rest days. It was very hard for me to take a day off, especially when there's not a lot of other things going on. The gym was something that I looked forward to every day. And we think of the gym as being such a therapy, such a stress relief, but it's not. It's literally stress on your body, and you have to take that into account. Something I hadn't learned yet. So I end up taking a little bit of a break. This is also, you know, around the time that Nathan and I are getting ready to move to Seattle, so we're traveling, and then we are about to get married. I had to just put fitness on the back burner for a second. I had other priorities at that time, and I think that was really healthy and good for me. I think that because I'd finally started to see the progress that I had been pursuing, it became more of an ego thing, and I let my confidence be in what I looked like because I liked the way I looked, and in the numbers that I was hitting because I felt really strong. We moved to Seattle, and I get here, and it's just really hard to get back into a gym routine. We're in a new city. We have all of these new people around us, a new setting. It was like the beginning of the year, I'm on a high. I feel like I'm having a good relationship with the gym, with my body, and with food. I am getting married. I'm moving to a new city. We get there, and I start really feeling myself slip back into a dark place. I really start trying to lose weight in an unhealthy, unsustainable way. So at this point, I'm restricting again, and I am just incredibly miserable. I had known this in the past, but this was when I really realized just how important and how vital it is to take care of your mental health too. So it had been something that I had kind of been neglecting. So I started really trying to work on it. I'm starting to try to push myself into some healthy habits like journaling. I start exploring the world of like shadow work and really trying to work through a lot of things that I didn't want to deal with. It was just a really hard couple years, and we never really had the time to process. So I spent the end of the summer really focusing on trying to get myself into a better place. Start seeing a psychiatrist and counselor, and I finally get the correct diagnosis. Truly getting the right diagnosis and getting matched with the right meds saved my life. I'm starting to work at a gym in Seattle, and I'm just pretty much doing admin work, but I'm starting to find like kind of a community. And this is when things start to pick back up. So because I'm working in the gym and I'm around so many people that have similar interests, I'm starting to get into a better gym routine. So I'm back in the gym, and I'm trying to start lifting, but I'm still dealing with a back injury that I think came from moving furniture in May when we had moved. So finally it gets to the point where it's so bad by December that I'm like, okay, I just need to do it. I just need to find a physical therapist. In January, I start going to physical therapy, and at this point now I've had 12 sessions. So I definitely have still ups and downs when it comes to dealing with my herniated disc, but overall I'm in a much better place because I'm starting to reframe things into, okay, this is an opportunity for growth in other areas. It's a great time for me to start exploring other parts of fitness, and I guess that kind of brings us to where we are today. I realized this week I pushed it a little bit too hard. The old me would have kept pushing, but I'm really trying to be more cognizant and more in tune with my body and asking myself, okay, what do you need? What are you feeling right now? What do you need? I used to think that everybody had to track macros, everybody had to lift like a bodybuilder, and everybody had to drink a gallon of water every day. I don't feel that way anymore, and I feel like I have a much more sustainable view on fitness. Not everybody is in the gym to lose weight. Not everybody should be in the gym to lose weight, and fitness looks so different for everyone. It's such a personal, individualized thing, and I have a much better relationship with fitness and my body now. I don't track what I eat right now. I just focus on prioritizing protein intake. I take as many rest days as my mind or body needs. I fuel myself, and I'm really focused on like what I can do to make my body feel strong, to make my body feel nourished and energetic and happy. And for me, that means eating dessert every single day of my life. The biggest thing that helped me within my fitness journey was learning how to take a step back and look at things more big picture. So fitness does not have to look one way for everyone, and it does not have to look one way for you your whole life. I feel like this is such a cliche, but physical beauty is so fleeting that if that's where you put your worth, you're never gonna be satisfied. Like, I am not gonna have the body of a 24-year-old forever. Like, I don't think it's always learning about how to make your body into a lovable shape or trying to build a life that you think is gonna help you love yourself. It's about giving yourself grace and forgiveness and patience and giving your body the love that it deserves. There is so much that my body has taken me through. I don't regret any of the steps that it took to get here. And I try really hard not to be resentful or bitter towards who I was in the past, because she was doing the best that she could at the time. Things that, you know, 16-year-old Leanne went through, the decisions that 18-year-old Leanne made. While there's so much that I'm not proud of, I have a lot of love for her because that's how I got to be where I am today. That is about it. I'm sure that I'm missing some things and leaving some things out, but that is the general gist of my fitness journey and how I got to be where I am today. And I am just so thankful for the positive aspects of the fitness community and the friends that I've made in the gym and the encouragement and the confidence that I've built by committing to myself and showing up for myself. Obviously, there are still ups and downs and there are still periods of time where I might slip up, but overall, I've been committing to myself, and I think it's huge in building your resilience. There's a saying that's like, you've survived all of your hardest days yet, and I think that can be really potent because you have. That is my story as it relates to fitness, kind of in a nutshell. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.